Yeah, well, welcome everyone. We'll get started here in just a minute. We have an amazing presenter today. I've already done the yes test myself, so I'm looking forward to him getting that to all of you. If you haven't gone through the yes test, it really helps define your marketing strategies and who your audience is and stuff. So it was really helpful. I had to really get focused though, because I'm so engaged in promoting multiple things, right? My day job, my company with ServeRx, and then this new project with the Fountain of Youth that I'm launching, and then this project that I'm working on with Dr. Bob here and Mike and another friend. And so I had to really get specific about taking that yes test for for the new project and not get confused with everything else that I'm promoting right now. But Brian will go into more detail on that when he gets here. But we'll have to jump off a little early, but do have you're in good hands here with Marie, who opens the room and lets everybody in for us, so she'll be able to continue recording the rest of today's meeting. Don't see Bob here yet. Bob's not here yet, and still waiting for Brian too. So there we go. Good morning. Good morning. So Marie, Brian will need presentation access so he can share his slides and his screen with us, but we'll go ahead and get kicked off, get started here so that we can end on time. But welcome. If anyone's new, I can't see everybody on my screen right here, but this is our mastermind referral group. We get together every Thursday, and we started out just in a small group to support small business here in Arizona, and it's quickly expanded to outside of the state and all over the states. And now we have international people that join with us too, from all over Mexico City, Ireland, Portugal. We had somebody from the Eastern Bloc that joined with us as well. That's been fun. And so welcome. We appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. And have a great presenter today in Brian. He's got an amazing program, so look forward to you all getting to get more familiar with that. But I live by the philosophy that I learned from Zig Ziglar back when I was going through sales training over 30 years ago, that you'll get everything you want out of life if you help enough other people get what they want. And so that's really what this group is all about. It's coming together, get to know each other better, and if you help enough people, eventually it comes around and supports you as well. And I've made some great connections through this group, and I've started some projects like I mentioned earlier because of relationships through this group as well. So it's not a requirement to give referrals, but as you get to know people better, understand exactly what they can offer, you'll think of somebody in your network that they need to meet. And a lot of those introductions happen from this group. So without any further ado, I want to turn the time over to Brian and let Brian present everything he's created with the yes test.
Well, hey, thank you very much, Breck. And hey, everybody. So it's good to see you. And I don't think I've met any of you in other networking situations, which is really cool. Because, I like to constantly meet new people. Sometimes in networking, it seems like you see some of the same faces, but I think everybody here has not heard what I'm about to go through. And before I show you some of the slides and things that I've prepared, I'll give you like the 30 seconds background. Before I got into emotional marketing and what we're going to talk about today, and wrote 15 books on the subject. I was in publishing. I was a magazine publisher and a newspaper publisher for about 15 years. And I got tired, not of the business. I love the business. I got tired of people who were having problems with their advertising. They would pay perfectly good money. We would take it. They would put the ad in the magazine, and then the ad would fail. And it happens not only in magazine land, it happens in digital land and radio land and TV land and any kind of advertising area you want to imagine. I know because I knew people who own TV and radio stations, they all had the same complaint. How come people keep giving us these bad ads and they expect us to make them work? And so when I sold the magazine business, I said, you know what, I'm going to create something that will help everybody, small business to medium business, to understand what really, really works on the human mind. Because we're all using our logical brains right now, our conscious mind, as you pay attention to what I'm saying, and you watch the images I'm going to show you. But it's your subconscious mind that rules just about everything you do, have ever done, and will ever do. And so it's really important that we understand that, because that's the mind that advertising works on. And if you can understand your subconscious mind, then you can understand how to sell anything to anyone, anywhere, at almost any price. And that's a pretty valuable skill to have. I assume most of us are in business here today, and most of us have something to sell. So I'm going to get into my little slide presentation, but I wanted you to just know where I came from and why all of this marketing voodoo that we do at the YES program it has come to pass. Just a show of hands. You don't have to shout out. Have any of you taken the YES test? Other than I know Breck has. Has anybody else taken it? Oh, Jamar, I didn't see you there. How you doing, buddy? Good. You'll all be given a chance at the end of the presentation to get one for free. So don't worry if you won't be left behind. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now, and we'll get started. Got some cool stuff to show you. Now, if everything's working properly, you're looking at a giant YES logo. If that's not what you're seeing, somebody unmute and tell me. That's what you got. Okay, good. We're going to have a good day. Everything's going to work just fine. Now, I know it's early, but I'm going to start you off with a big thinking question. All right. I just told you all about me. That's not the big thinking question. I am the CEO, by the way, of Admanity and the creator of the YES test and a few other items. Here's the big question. What do you think was the first language of humanity? Go all the way back as far as you can imagine. What do you think the first language of humanity was?
Body language?
That's a good guess. You're closer than most people say Greek or Sanskrit or something like that. The first language of humanity is emotion.
Grunting and groaning, grunting and groaning.
Yeah, I was going to say body language.
We didn't have words in the early days. In the caveman days, we only had emotion. And you still carry those emotions with you to this very day. It's in your DNA. So let me just share with you how it all started. Hey, look at there. There's our cave woman, and she's a very attractive cave woman. And so, of course, here comes a little Ugg. We're going to call him Ugg because he doesn't have a name. There's no words. So he just says, Ugg, why don't we go out on a date? And then another caveman comes along and says, Ugg, don't pick him, pick me. And a third caveman comes along and says, Ugg, how about we go out for a burger? And that's how it all began. See, isn't that much simpler than all that stuff school taught you? That's it. We only had emotions, and that's how things all got started. But now today, we're really smart. We're all very advanced. We have cerebral cortexes and all those cool things. but your inner caveman still controls all of the buying. So if you want to make sales, I don't care what your company sells, you've got to learn how to sell to the caveman in all of us, because that's the little guy that buys. Now, our company's called Edmanity, and we have a secret. And the big secret is that advertising with emotion works. Period. End of story. No argument. Every time. So to illustrate that, I'm going to show you these two familiar faces. Hopefully you remember Star Trek, Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock. Now, Captain Kirk was very emotional. He was very persuasive, if you remember the series. Mr. Spock was very rational. Now, in advertising, persuasion is emotional, and all resistance to your sales presentation comes from the rational mind. Now, Kirk would be the star of your sales team if you could hire him, but you'd be firing Spock within 30 days. Spock can't sell. He's rational. And the rational part of the mind is incapable of understanding emotion, which is why on the show, they always made such a big deal about him not being able to be emotional. But it's a pretty good metaphor. So keep that in mind next time you're putting an ad together. Emotion, your subconscious mind, is your yes brain, the brain that says yes to everything, the brain that buys. The information in your mind, it has to be processed by your conscious brain. And I call that the no brain. That's the brain that makes up an excuse like, let me think about it. I'll talk to my spouse. I'll call you back. Let's get together later. Whatever the excuse is, if you're hearing that, that means you've been speaking to their conscious mind, because that's the end. It can't make a decision, so it can only prolong it. So we're going to look at an ad here, and this is a really simple ad. It says, "Be admired. Make the smart choice today." Obviously, this kid's graduating school. He's really proud. His parents are happy. Now, listen, products always change, but people never do. You can count on the fact that people haven't changed in thousands of years. Watch how we change this ad, okay? Using the same emotional formula, but now we're going to sell a completely different product. Now, "Be admired, make the smart choice today" is a hair care product for men. That looks like a pretty good ad. I'd like to be that guy. We're going to change it one more time. "Be admired, make the smart choice today" now is an ad for fashionable evening attire. Same words, different products. Emotional formulas are used to sell almost everything you've ever seen purchased because you buy on emotion. So here's another example. I might say, "Hey, I look great in this red Ferrari." And I probably do. But after I purchase the red Ferrari, I'm going to affirm on logic. I'm a lot less emotional. And I might say something like, "Well, you know, red Ferraris hold their value better than other colors. That's really one of the great reasons why I have this red Ferrari." Yeah, right. You got the red Ferrari because you got emotional. 95% of your purchases and decision-making is from the emotional subconscious mind. That comes not from me, that comes from Harvard. And I love this one, my favorite books from Dale Carnegie, "How to Win Friends and Influence People." When you're dealing with people, he says, remember, you're not dealing with creatures of logic. You're dealing with creatures of emotion. You all deal with people every day. But we're so logical most of the time because we're talking about business and numbers and stuff that's important that we forget that people only act on emotion. Now, we did research, took us 7 years to create the S test, was not done in a weekend, even though you'll complete the test in 5 minutes. It took us 7 years. And a lot of the research was to come up with this chart. In other words, these are the 15 emotions that have sold everything on planet Earth. It's what you've used when you've purchased, and your children's children's children will be using these same emotions when they buy. And you can see them on your TV every night when you watch commercials because they're using them too. But if you look at them, they're very primal, like our caveman, like in the upper left, affinity. That's just happiness. Authority, that's just certainty. Service, that's just ease. I want an easy life. Look at in the red, fascination, that's excitement. Temptation, we all know what that is. Urgency, fear. So you can see these are very, very, very primal emotions. And that's what motivates people to buy things. It also motivates us to get through life. Because if you didn't have any emotions and you were born, you'd perish because you'd never learn. You'd never have enough emotional sense to cry. You would probably simply just lay there. So emotions are really, really important. They're really responsible for the upward advancement of mankind because somebody got emotional enough to do something about it. So we're going to play a game now. We're going to see how fast your brain is. So don't look at me. I want you to look at the screen. I'm going to show you something really, really quickly. All right. Let's see if you can catch what's going on here. Watch closely. There. What was that ad about? Go ahead. Somebody shout it out.
Beer.
There you go. All right. It's not an AA meeting. I can tell that right now.
At least not in this house.
You're absolutely correct. That ad was about beer. You caught it in a nanosecond. Now, let's see how much else you caught. First of all, what kind of mug are we going to serve the beer in? That was in the ad, by the way.
It's got a handle.
Nope. A
Oh.
nice cold frosty mug. What kind of beer? Anybody catch that? Tasty craft beer. What time of day? Only from 4 to 9. What price is the beer? Hey, pay us anything or nothing at all. That's pretty fair price for beer, if I remember right. And you probably didn't notice that it was from Billy Bob's Brew House and his slogans and everything else. Probably didn't catch much of that. And the reason is because your brain processes visuals many, many times faster than it processes words. And that should teach you a lesson if you're putting an ad somewhere, like on a billboard where people are speeding by, or in a Facebook feed where things are just rifling down in speed, or perhaps even a magazine where they're just flipping through the pages. Visuals are really, really important. Takes you about 300 to 400 milliseconds just to blink your eyes. That's how fast it is to read, and that's how long it takes to read one word. So think about that. You can identify the beer 15 in milliseconds, which is 20 times faster than you can blink or read the word blink. Isn't that interesting? Because your brain was developed to help you survive against predators, to find them quickly. And you still have those traits today. And your yes brain, the brain that buys stuff, loves pictures. Your no brain reads the words. Okay? Here's one more. I want you to watch closely one more time. This one will be fun. Okay, ready? What did you see?
Muscles.
Muscles. You notice the bodybuilder first. You probably didn't mention or notice that he was pointing to visuals and words. But you did notice the bodybuilder. Again, visual acuity is very, very quick. Now let's test the other part of your brain. Now I want you to look at this chessboard and I want you to just make a note in your head. Square A up there is a different color than square B. I think we can all agree on that. It's a checkerboard. Now, watch what happens. Square A and B are exactly the same color. And right now you're looking at that and you're saying, wait a minute, that's impossible. Square A is definitely looking different than square B. That's because your conscious brain is involved and it's telling you that a checkerboard can't be the same color. They are opposite positions. Therefore, A and B are different. And this is what happens when you sell to the conscious brain. It tries to figure things out. It often comes out with solutions that are incorrect. And this is a very famous psychology experiment that proves that, sometimes we think we know exactly what we're looking at, and it's amazing when you don't. So ads that appeal to the conscious mind just simply don't work. Great ads make you react. The subconscious reacts. It doesn't really think about it. It isn't really capable of having long thought conversations with itself. It just simply goes, yes, no, buy, sell, get out of here, run. Okay? Take a look at these ads now. Now, these are all billion-dollar brands. That's not what they have in common. What I want you to think for just a second, use that big conscious brain of yours, and think, what do these guys all have in common other than they're really rich? The tough one. Here's what they have in common, all these big brands. Oh, by the way, besides they were failing, out of cash, struggling, inferior, a lot of these brands were nearly bankrupt. A lot of people don't realize that Apple almost went under, FedEx almost went under, Geico almost went under, Absolute Vodka was given no hope of ever surviving, and Marlboro couldn't give the cigarettes away for 30 consecutive years. Now they're $1 trillion. They owe their success to one thing, a single ad campaign. One ad campaign changed their entire existence. So what we did is we studied 100 years of advertising, all the best campaigns. We studied all the ads that actually worked. Only the ads that worked. We didn't care about the losers. We wanted to know what made the winners win. So it looked kind of like this. You'd have a company not doing much. They're kind of flatlining. Call this Federal Express. All of a sudden, a new ad comes out, and it's the same exact product. It's just presented differently. And then you're using the correct formula. Humans like this formula. And all of a sudden, the brand can't do anything but make money. This is psychology. This is what advertising truly is. And there's a huge problem facing small businesses today. And here it is. The big brands can hire the big agencies to create these emotional winning ads for them. They have the money, and these agencies understand the formulas. But the little guys, that's us, say, hey, what are you talking about? Which emotions? What formulas? How do we do this? Because we were never shown. School never taught this. There's no marketing school anywhere that will teach what you're about to see. You were never shown the formulas. Here's a great formula. Here's game shows, okay? See a game show you like? I got a couple. I like The Wall up there on the top, and I love Deal or No Deal with Howie Mandel. All right, now, guess what? They all use the same exact formula. Every game show that's ever made it uses the same formula. How about sitcoms? You guys like sitcoms? Here's the most famous sitcoms in history. See some there you like? See some from your childhood even? They all use the same formula. Every one of them. Which James Bond is your favorite Bond? People argue over that. Guess what? It doesn't matter. They're each a formula. Why? Because it works. It works every time. So if everything is a formula, why would your advertising be any different? And the answer is, it wouldn't be. And so we're going to show you the world's easiest formula. 1 + 2 = 3. If you can handle that, you can do anything that we can show you. Anything close to genius is simple. Simple stuff. The simpler, the better, really. Because you still have a caveman inside your brain running around in there loose. So you got to know the formulas for your own brand. But we as business owners, we get obsessed with these three things: the price, the quality, and customer service. Got to have a better price, got to have the best quality. Customer service needs to improve. We get obsessed with those three things. I'm going to show you why you don't need to. Take a look at this. Who's this guy? This is our infomercial pitch guy. All right. Let me show you some infomercials to prove to you that formula can sell anything. Remember this? This is the George Foreman grill. What does it do? It cooks chicken. That's its magic. That's what it does. It also makes $200 million a year. It cooks chicken. Okay, remember the Snuggie? How hard we all laughed when the Snuggie commercial came out? We said, what are you kidding me, right? A blanket with sleeves? Yeah, 500 million in total sales. Some of you might actually own a Snuggie. P90X must be a great way to work out. They teach you how to get fit inside your own home at $400 million a year in revenues. Chuck Norris, we've seen him slide up and down on that contraption so many times, 1 billion in sales. Showtime Rotisserie Grill, another way to cook chicken. There's just not enough ways to cook chicken. 1.2 billion. Proactive Skincare, 1 billion per year. Okay, 1 billion per year. Okay. It's a crazy thing. These are $10 billion brands. Now, take a look at some of these brands. Look how long it took IBM to reach the $1 billion level. 79 years. Disney, 69. You can see some of the years as I go through them. Even the great and powerful Apple's Death Star took 14 years to hit $1 billion. These infomercial products are doing it in far less time. You see anything on the left that looks as amazing as Disney, Microsoft, or Apple? Probably not. Formula is more important than product. So here's the formula. This is exactly how they do it. And every one of our formulas is 1 + 2 = 3. So here's one, innovation. We're going to show you something new. We're going to combine that with something that saves you time and money. Has to save you time and money. And it has to happen now. Have you ever seen an infomercial say buy sometime down the road? No, operators are standing by. You've got to do it now. These three components create the infomercial formula that creates the urgency to buy something you really don't need right now. And there's your 1 + 2 = 3. And there's our little girl showing us how simple the formula is. Everything we've done at Advanity is to reduce the most powerful advertising messages down to simple formulas just like this. So you might say, well, what if I'm just like somebody else? Let's say you sell something like car insurance. I'm going to play a game with you. I'm going to read your mind. In your mind, think of 3 large car insurance companies. Think of 3 of the big guys that sell car insurance. Think about it. Give it a second. Any 3 that come to mind. I'm reading your minds. And I'll bet you all thought of Geico, Progressive, State Farm, Liberty Mutual, Farmers, or Allstate. Now, how do I know that? Let's take a look at Geico and I'll show you why. Here's our Geico lizard. If you sell car insurance for Geico, you know nobody likes insurance. You don't even want to talk about insurance. You want them to think it's going to be over quick. You want them to think that they're going to save money. You want to do what your product cannot do. You want to make people laugh. That's how you sell car insurance. And that's what they do. They make you laugh. So they make you save money with the 15 minutes and the 15%. It's right there in the slogan. It couldn't be any more save time, save money. That's the ambition archetype. Greed, save something, make something, and laugh. Save and laugh, save and laugh. And if they took our test, they'd be what we would call an approval brand, a brand that trades on its reputation. You buy Geico because you like them. There's no difference between the insurance and State Farm. 1 + 2 = 3. It's just that simple. And here's the results. Geico went from being obscure, nearly bankrupt, to the #2 car insurance company USA, $2 billion a year in ads, $35 billion in revenues, 18 million customers, never once changes its formula. Warren Buffett says, I'd double the advertising if they'd just let me. But here's the cool part. All the other guys that you thought were popular have now copied the formula and are all using it. All 6 using the exact same formula for the exact same product at the exact same time in history, and they are all in the top 6. It doesn't matter how many times the formula is used. Humans like it. And that's where this little phrase comes from. Now, you, as a small company, should use the exact same formulas that the big guys are doing. You're just going to do it on a much smaller budget. But the emotions are the same. It's not the ad money that matters. It's the emotions that you're going to trigger. And if you don't know what your emotions are for your company, you're just like this little kid here. Every time you run an ad, you're doing this. You're just throwing the money away because you're throwing a dart. You really don't know. And it's going to attract the worst customer, the ones that cost you money. That's the worst customer in the world. Nobody wants these guys showing up at their door. Because you ran the wrong ad, you attracted the wrong customer. So, how would you like to know the emotional formulas for your business? It takes 5 minutes. It's a real simple little test. And it's free. We call it the yes test. Tells you why people will say yes to you. That's a pretty important thing to know. True, false questions, real easy to take. and you get instant results and it'll look like this. This is kind of what a result looks like. By the way, every result completely unique. There are millions of possible outcomes to this. So everybody will get a unique response catered directly to their company, whatever they tested for. And inside, we're going to be able to show you so much more, but the test is free. But if you want to get to know us, we'll show you the secrets of your brand, the strengths, your strategies, your superpowers. We'll show you not one formula, we'll show you 16 different formulas, all proven to sell your product to the marketplace. We'll show you all the words, the phrases, the metaphors, the catchphrases, the sizzle words, just for your brand. It's a copywriter's dream. We'll show you the subconscious mind, how to learn to speak its language, because it buys everything. We'll show you how to upsell clients, because that's where a lot of your money, most of us fail miserably right here. Most of us could double our revenues if we just upsell every client. We'll show you how to get 10 times more powerful with your ads. We'll show you the colors you should be using. We'll show you how to win back lost customers. It is very possible to do. They bought once, they'll buy again. We'll give you access to AdVanity U, which is where we teach all this stuff. And we give you access to 230 million photos. Because remember our bodybuilder and remember the beer, how important visuals are? Well, here's 230 million of them that we're going to give you access to. But hang on, you also get something else. We're going to show you, and I don't expect you to understand all this now, but I just wanted to show you what else you get. You get Salesmanity. It's our lead generation system using the yes test. 78% of the people you give the test to will book an appointment. 100 emails, all averaging 55% open rate. 55. We'll show you how to get your press release on Google, get your page one Google in less than 3 days. We'll show you how you can join others. We have a nice little networking group, and it's all people who've taken the test. We'll show you how other people teach. We'll give you 2,000 mentors, 2,000 videos, stage speakers, and people who really know their stuff. And it's all free. You already know about PicManity. We'll give you free photos from there. VidManity's coming soon. That's the same thing, but with videos. And Yes Capital. We'll show you how to get loans from hundreds of different lenders with no fees taken out of the loans. So if you look at all this stuff put together, it looks like a giant assortment of things. We sell it for $8.99 one time, one and done. It's probably one of the best values on the marketing planet. And if you're interested in that, you can set up an appointment. It's very, very easy to do. I'll put my contact information in the chat once I get done here. And now it's time for your free gift. You go to either freeyestest.com and you can take the test there. You can also go to advanity.com and there's a bunch of links there. You can get to it either way. Free Yes Test is the quickest way. If you just want to go there and get a test like Breck did, then just go there. But either one of those is fine. And I want to thank you because that's it for me. My presentation is over and I will stop the share. And hopefully I didn't go over time. I wasn't looking at the time, but I was trying to get through as quick as I could.
Outstanding. Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So if I haven't been to your particular group, but if you have questions, I'm happy to answer, or if you, whatever the next segment is, you know, I'll just sit here and be quiet. It's possible for me to be quiet. A lot of people don't believe that, but it's possible.
Well, I thought it was brilliant. Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the compliment. I really do.
Yeah, that was spectacular.
Appreciate it,
Yeah,
Bob.
Hi, this is Dr. Bob. I really enjoyed your presentation, and as a mind-body connection expert, I'm 100% on board with the subconscious mind running life. And if people realized that and they worked with it, they'd be a lot more powerful, a lot more happy. And what I wanted to ask you, so thank you for your presentation. That was really, really good, and it opened my eyes to some things I hadn't considered. So that's awesome. Can you hear me
Thank you.
okay, by the way?
Yeah, I can hear
Okay.
you.
So one thing I wanted to ask is when you're presenting from the stage in a general, you're imparting information to people using PowerPoint. You know, I've transitioned over the decades from loaded with bullets and words to not so much, very little bullets and words. What about the use of images in there, and how do you, if you're just putting up a couple of words and you're talking about them for 2 minutes, um, how do you get that information embedded in the person's subconscious so they retain it and can use it down the road?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me, and I'll answer it. I spoke for, I think, 15 minutes, somewhere around there, maybe 20. And I had 78 slides in that presentation. Now, and I've done many stage presentations, and the better trick is whether you're using PowerPoint, which doesn't have I use Keynote. That was created in Keynote, which is an Apple product. It has more razzle dazzle than PowerPoint. But either way, you want to keep it moving. If you have 2 minutes of talking to do over a few words, you're putting your audience to sleep, no matter how much you scream. Change the photo. Leave the words there, move in a different photo, come up with a different thing to look at. If you look at movies and how they're cut in the editing room, about every 2 seconds is another scene. They don't let you stare very long. Commercials are the same way. They don't let you stare very long at the same thing because the mind kind of gets sort of bored quick. So keep it moving, fewer words, bigger pictures, more dazzling emotion. The emotion will come from the pictures because rarely are the words themselves emotional, especially when you're teaching and you have a serious topic that you're going to teach on. You may not be able to become that copywriter and have all this razzle dazzle copy, but you can certainly create a better visual for them to look at. And that's why we give you 230 million pictures to pick from. Visuals are really important. They keep things moving. And I hope you could pick that up from my presentation, that I always gave you something new to look at as we were moving through it.
Yeah, I'm also thinking about how to get content to the people too. So I'm thinking, okay, I have a PowerPoint presentation with a few words, lots of pictures, rotating them in, then maybe I have in the PowerPoint comments that they don't see, that I can send them the PowerPoint later and they can actually review the comments afterwards if they want to. Is that reasonable or is that a waste of time? To try and
The
get them
best time,
content
I always say
after they bought my product.
after they bought your product. Let me tell you exactly what you should do after they buy the product. Most people have this in complete reverse, by the way, which is why they get mad and say, how come my ads suck? Emotion first sells the product, always and forever. That will never change, no matter how much you wish it would change. There hasn't been a sale made by the rational mind yet. It is incapable of making a purchase decision. After the purchase, now's the time to load them up with every fact you've got, statistics, all the great reasons why they're just the smartest person in the world for buying your product. You want to affirm on logic because they have buyer's remorse. I don't care. Everyone has buyer's remorse. As soon as you hit that button that says purchase now, you have buyer's remorse, more than likely, to some degree. You want to avoid that, overcome that. And here's where the conscious brain gets its day in court. It has all these facts. It can't wait to spew them out. It just wants you to know all the good reasons why this product is so great. This is when you send them an email, mail them a brochure, send them a video, a webinar, whatever you got to do. After the sale, logic is your best friend.
Oh, thank you.
Somebody else?
Well, Brian,
We'll take the
uh,
test and then I'd like to talk to you. So,
Oh yeah, let me I promised you I promised you I'd put my my contact information into the chat, didn't I? And I lied to you. You can't trust me. I'm in advertising. Let me do that right now. And in the chat, it goes to everyone in meeting. Paste. Boom. My calendar link is there. If you click that, you'll be meeting directly with me. You will not be handed off to one of my minions. You'll meet directly with me. We'll talk about your business. We'll talk about your test results. I really appreciate it if you would take the test first, then book, or book and get your test done. It takes 5 minutes, so you can do it on your lunch hour. But I'll have a lot more to share with you about your test results once you do that. And it's interesting stuff. It's funny, the things we think sell our products are not the things that sell our products a lot of the time. Skittles. Maybe you guys don't eat a lot of Skittles. I don't read this room as a giant Skittle eating room, but Skittles tells you to taste the rainbow. That's stupid, isn't it? You can't taste a rainbow. You can't even find a rainbow, let alone taste one. They've made $1 billion teaching you to taste the rainbow. Why? Because that seems like a pleasant thing. Rainbows are happy. Candy that rots your teeth, not so happy. Red Bull, banned in 22 countries. Red Bull gives you wings. Doesn't pep you up, fill you full of energy, make you hyper. It gives you wings. Frosted Lucky Charms? Why, they're magically delicious. They're not just delicious, they're magically delicious.
So I have a
Diamonds
question,
are
Brian.
forever. They may actually be forever. It is what sells it. What made all these billion-dollar brands, the point of my pitch here was not that they were smart. If you hire $1 million ad agency, let's hope there's one caveman somewhere in their roster, one dumb thinking, simple-minded, knuckle-dragging, slogan-creating person who knows what the subconscious mind would like to hear. Because that's the slogans that made these people rich. When Just Do It came out for Nike,
Yeah.
Phil Knight hated it. It was the actual
I have a
last
question for
words
you.
of a convicted serial killer.
Oh man.
Gary
So Brian,
Gilmore was being
I have another
convicted.
question.
What's that?
I have another question. This is Dr. Bob again. So, I've heard about 85,000 elevator pitches, right, from all kinds of different people. And what occurs to me is that a lot of elevator pitches, including my own, oftentimes are filled with, facts and figures and this and that, I've done this, I've done that, blah, blah, blah. Sounds like it's definitely barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah, there's I've got to crack a little joke here. I have a book. It may not show up too well on this green screen, but it's called Sheep Don't Eat Complicated Grass. There's only one way to get this book, and that's to make an appointment with me. Then you get it free. Hint, hint. Make an appointment. And when you come out with facts, you create a condition I jokingly refer to as sheep sleep.
Gotcha.
Because the conscious brain can't decide anyway. I mean, you could talk all day to the conscious mind. All it can do is organize the facts, make a triage, put a bunch of things like Spock. Captain, here is our number 1 and our number 2 and our 3 best options. What do we do? Emotional Kirk. Fire phasers, blast the hell out of them. Okay, so, it is always the emotional side that makes the decision. So whenever you are using facts, realize you're talking to the wrong side of the brain. Now, I've said that, and you say, yeah, but I've got to be factual. I've got to tell them some facts. Can't just be a bunch of smoke and mirrors. Make the facts emotionally interesting. You may sell the dullest product in the world. You might sell milk, but the people who buy it are not emotionally dull individuals. The people who buy your products aren't dull. I don't care what you sell. And I don't care if you sell nuclear reactor parts to a guy with a 300 IQ that works at the Pentagon. If he buys your nuclear reactor parts, he will buy it on emotion. He will not buy it
Now
on
you're talking
logic.
about now you're talking about pharmaceutical advertising. It's exactly what they do. You know, they
Oh,
got these interesting people
don't get me
living
going.
great lives, and in the background, everybody's dying. Right? So,
Well,
so
this,
I have a question for you, and I
yeah,
don't. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say all the side effects are always being read when you're playing frisbee catch with the dog. You know, and you're
Exactly.
petting your dog, you're yeah, playing with your kid. Yeah, it's
Exactly. So, you know, I've led a lot of large group programs, hundreds of people at a time, from the stage to in corporations for relief of chronic pain and stress. And I never touch anybody. And I use PowerPoint and I teach them from the stage with education and demonstration and some participation. Maybe it's the participation that does it. But I've gotten results like with chronic back pain, over 50% of the people in a multi-session program get a totally eliminate their pain, get off any pain meds. And I'm listening to what you're saying, and I believe everything you're saying. I'm just wondering, like, what have I been doing that is so effective that without touching anybody and using facts and figures and some demonstration, some participation. I'm getting these, and I assign them things to do in between sessions that they have to get the job done themselves. Maybe that's what it is. They participate, they take on what I say, and then they do it themselves. So or maybe I'm answering my own question.
well, the subconscious gets its orders from the conscious. So when your parents told you that there was Santa Claus, your subconscious believes that because it has no ability to discern fact from fiction, true from false, fantasy from reality. The subconscious merely reacts. And so you're somewhere in your presentation, your conscious portion must be getting through to the subconscious part. You're telling them there is no pain, or the pain could be less. You know, you could, this is a, it's obviously working, you know, and this is what hypnotism is based on, you know, right? They bypass the conscious mind, get right to the subconscious so you stop smoking or whatever it is. It tells you
so I get it.
what to do.
I get it. So what I do a lot with future visioning, like what's going to happen, and it's definitive. You know, they got to want it, they got to believe it, they have to know it. And when they do that, we future vision what's going to happen in the future. That's what they're locking in on, right? So I think that's pretty much one of the important components of the multimodal approach that I take with groups that I don't interact with physically.
Well, you'll find after you study this as long as I have, almost everything in life is emotional. The stuff you're seeing on TV now, the wars, the crisis, the presidential candidate you hate, all that stuff is designed to be emotional. All of your relationships are emotional. Your decisions are emotional. Your fears and phobias, those monsters under the bed as a child were emotional monsters. Everything is emotional. Only 5% of your active mind is conscious thought. So if I said to you, for example, what's 2 plus 2? You'd go 4, because you know it's a fact. If I said, what color is my shirt? Hopefully it looks purple. You would say purple, because it's a fact. But if I said, what's your favorite color of men's shirt?
Conscious thinking.
Now I have to get emotionally involved. Now I got to figure out what I like. That's emotional. That's subconscious thinking. I will say, I love blue. And so your conscious mind says that because the subconscious just told it what you like. But because you said it, you feel smart. You feel like your smart brain made that decision. You've pronounced it blue because that's the last thing that happened in the chain. But trust me, a nanosecond before you said that, the decision was made so that you could say that. That's how the brain works. They're like yin and yang. They're totally connected all the time, fighting over position. Think of the subconscious as what's going on inside the nightclub. Think of the conscious brain as the bouncer standing out front of the club, deciding what gets in and what doesn't get in there. If you can bypass the bouncer, you can get into the club subconscious and you can have a good time. But you got to bypass that conscious brain.
That's why hypnotherapy is so powerful. or waking hypnosis, conversational mind effects. I mean, it's all, that's why it's so powerful.
It's so powerful. In fact, advertising is a very, 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 if you think about it, it's a very, very light form of hypnosis. Hypnosis is
Sure.
repetition. Hypnosis is suggestion into the subconscious mind over and over again.
And
What is advertising? Same ad coming on TV every night telling you that they're magically delicious. They're magically delicious. And it gives you wings and you can taste rainbows. Okay.
you hate the ad, but you know what it is. You can say it. You can sing the jingle even though you hate it.
Well, one of my funny favorites is Axe body spray. Okay. Now this was a failed brand in Europe. They brought it here. We all know every teenage kid for a while they all smelled alike because they all bought Axe body spray. Now, the commercial goes something like this. The gawky 14-year-old guy splashes some Axe on himself, walks outside the door. All of a sudden, supermodels are magnetically attracted to him. All right. They can't resist this formerly geeky dude. And he just keeps attracting them. And it just gets crazier and crazier. And you're sitting on your couch in your conscious mind and you're going, this is the dumbest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. Who in their right mind would believe that some $4 lotion would get this guy or anybody a date? Your subconscious mind is sitting on the same couch. You know what it says? It's like, hey, are you getting this?
Get that
This guy's
stuff.
got dates,
Yeah.
and we're sitting at home on Saturday night. We need a truckload of this, and we need it now. That's what your subconscious mind is saying. By the way, the exact same tactic was used to sell high karate in the 60s. They sold $2.5 billion of high karate. The same company that sold high karate also came up with a product you might have heard of, Viagra. Pfizer made high karate. Then they made Viagra. They used the exact same formula. Then Axe took the exact same formula and made $4 billion selling us Axe. And then Old Spice got pissed off at Axe because that was their market. And they used the exact same formula again to steal back half their market share from Axe. So like I said, it doesn't matter how long the formula has been around or how many times you use it. It's like James Bond. Every time you watch the movie, you like it. It just is. So quit fighting it. Learn from the thousands of people who've come before you. Learn from the winners. Copy them. Get the materials from us. We've already got it laid out for you. You don't have to think about it. You just buy our stuff and we'll show you the exact formulas that you should use. That's why we need that test up front, though, because without that test, it wouldn't make any sense. We'd be guessing.
Brian, where are
So
you
would you
located?
agree?
Where
Pardon?
are you located?
I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Oh, you got a
Would you
neighbor.
agree?
Anybody else from Arizona?
I am.
Yeah.
Well,
Bob?
let me put it to you this way. I spend half my time in Scottsdale.
Okay. Not a bad place to spend half your time
There you go. So
and all your money.
everything that you've been talking about, gentlemen, has been just, I love it. And I'll tell you a quick little story. In 2008, 1977, I got very, very involved in hypnotherapy. I'd gotten divorced, got very, very depressed, and decided to go to a phone book. You remember what those are? And plucked my finger down and hit a psychologist. And it turns out that he used hypnotherapy as one of his tools. And I got very, very involved in it. Fast forward, 2008, I ended up getting a staph infection. And I was only given a 5% chance of living. And I had two thoughts that crossed my mind. Oh, well, what are you going to do about it? I was in so much pain. The second thought was, I didn't believe it. I went back to my hypnotherapy. And I'm here today, gang, because of hypnotherapy and what you do with your subconscious mind. Very powerful. So thank you.
It's a good
Brian,
story.
yeah, fantastic. Yeah, Bob, that's really great. Congratulations on that. Hey, Brian, would you agree, and Bob, uh, would you agree that the subconscious mind is predominantly constructed in language, and therefore that makes understanding and using language in an appropriate way is critical for harnessing the power of the subconscious mind? Would you agree with that?
Here's what I'll tell you. The subconscious mind sort of takes its orders from the conscious mind. So when you see words on a page, it's your conscious mind that's going to read them. And it's going to hand that off, so to speak. You can think of it like that, to the subconscious, to figure out. That's why we recommend metaphor so much. He stood his ground like a brick wall. Our brand is like a battleship in the lake. Customers will be in front of you like Easter eggs on the grass. When you can get a visual into the wording, it sells a lot better and a lot quicker because your mind can process a picture that fast. So you paint pictures with your words whenever possible. No one will ever figure out what you're doing. I'm an expert copywriter. I use metaphor all through the copy. Because words have to be processed. That takes us, it takes a second or two. And then they have to be sort of like, what does that mean? Hopefully you didn't use any big words, because if you send the poor little caveman to the thesaurus or the dictionary, you just lost the whole deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Think one syllable words. Think words that have one meaning. Think words that represent photos, pictures, or things they already fully understand. Absolute
Yeah.
vodka is the best example of that. Now, I know no one here is going to admit to ever having some vodka. But I will tell you that when Absolute Vodka came over from Sweden, they said it will never sell, and no distributor would stock it. They said it's Russian vodkas that people like. People believe good vodka comes from Russia. So we're not going to sell Swedish vodka. That's stupid. And they had no market share. So they launched the biggest print campaign to this day in the history of mankind. 1,500 consecutive print ads, each saying absolute something. Absolute perfection was the first one. But you remember how they always compare themselves to a famous place or a famous thing or famous person or something visual. Absolute, and then one other word, 2-word ads. They became the #1 selling vodka in the world. They were ranked by Forbes as the #1 luxury brand. Now, if you've ever drank Absolute, you know it's not the best vodka in the world. But they were ranked the best vodka in the world. And they sold that crappy little vodka that nobody thought would be on the shelf for $9 billion, just from creating ads with 2 words.
Unreal.
Isn't it amazing? It's one
Yeah.
of the greatest stories in advertising. It's one of those things you wish, as an ad guy, you just wish you have one achievement like that you could take a bow for, because it's brilliant, beyond brilliant. Look it up and read about it sometime. Or better yet, if you take the yes test, what follows your yes test is 100 free lessons on marketing. You get 2 a week for a year.
Wow.
And the Absolute is one of those. We'll show you how they did it. And so
Brian,
don't
Brian,
unsubscribe. You'll learn a lot if you stay with us.
I'm in my car. I can't get the chat, so I put in the chat a message saying, "Please send me your information." I hope you'll do that because I want to talk to you, and I'm going to stop dominating.
I've copied it down, Bob. I'll send you a test and my information, so you're good.
Thank you. I'm going to stop dominating the conversation now.
That's okay. It's a good group. You guys have some good questions. I love hearing, because our goal is to help small businesses understand what really works instead of what you're probably doing now, which is the best you can. When I had my magazine, they gave me the ads. That was the best ad they could create. It wasn't their fault. It wasn't any good. The graphic designer made it look pretty, but it didn't have the right emotional combinations.
Yeah.
It's like H2O is water. H2O2 is hydrogen peroxide. One small change in the formula makes a huge difference in the campaign. And most of these billion-dollar brands, They were dancing around the fire, but they just weren't catching it. Ad agency comes in, says, "Oh, no one wants Marlboro for 30 consecutive years. Let us take a swing at it." They went from 5 million in sales to 5 billion in sales in 1 year.
By doing
The Marlboro Man.
with the Marlboro Man again.
They came out with a hero archetype. This was reinvented so many times, but most recently you might remember the world's most interesting man, Stay Thirsty, My Friends, the Dos Equis guy.
Yeah.
10 straight years he gave them double-digit improvements in sales. 10 consecutive years made that brand number one. Same exact formula. The man's man, the guy that's got life handled, everything works out. He's done them, he's just got it made, that hero archetype.
And the ladies were around, of course.
And his reward, they fired him. After 10 years, they said, "You're too old. You'll no longer appeal to the younger beer drinkers, which we want to attract." And he said, "You're crazy. I've given you nothing. You're number one." They fired him. They rehired a new guy.
Interesting.
Took less than a year for the world's
Wow.
second most interesting man to leave our TV screens forever.
Wow, that's amazing.
So so you see these brands, like, they get a hit, they're still using Marlboro Man. You may not see it as much around here, but trust me, they're worldwide. When you get a hit like that, you tend to stay with it. Mr.
Right.
Clean still uses the same jingle they started with 60 years ago.
Yeah.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun. Right?
Right.
Same stuff. When it works, it works. It always works. It never stops working. So that's my advice to all of you right now. I know we're past our time, so I probably should shut up.
Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff, Brian. Brilliant stuff.
Thanks. Listen, guys, write to me. Take the test.
One of the best,
Get
one of the
together.
best meetings.
Every one of you. Let's get together. Be fun.
one of the best meetings I can remember. So
Thanks, Bob.
making my 2024, and I thank you for that.
Well, Bob, you've been in a lot of meetings. I know that. So that's one hell of a compliment. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Goodbye,
Yeah,
everybody. It was been a real pleasure.
Take care, man.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you later.
Thanks.